Hey, this is Deb Coons, your trusted real estate specialist. I'm here today with the first episode of our new Tuesday Tips from the Trenches video series. First up is Kellen Adkins, Marketing Manager from McCollum Law. She'll be providing valuable information about estate planning, things you need to know at nearly every stage of life. So, Kellen, let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me today, Deb. So I have been with McCollum Law for a little over a year. I was previously with another estate planning firm. McCollum Law does estate planning, so wills, trusts, powers of attorney, things like that, as well as residential and commercial real estate. But for the sake of our talk today, I'm going to focus on estate planning.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Kellen. What is one thing that you wish everyone knew about estate planning?
I guess the biggest thing is I would love for people to understand that it's not as scary as people think to talk about. Yes, it can be somewhat uncomfortable, but we really try to make it as easy as possible for you and your family when you come in to do your consultation. We offer a free consultation, and everyone there is ready and willing to listen to everything that you have to say. And it's not expensive. Many people think it's very expensive to do an estate plan. And for the only time it would get into more expense is if you have heavy tax planning or you need a trust that, for instance, special needs trust, something of that nature. But a basic will and powers of attorney is not an expensive thing to do. And there's many reasons why not to do the do-it-yourselfers, the DIY wills. And that's another topic for another day.
Gotcha. Awesome. Kellen, can you share with us a story or situation that you've encountered with your clients that pertains to estate planning?
Yes, I'm going to give you a personal example. 5 years ago, my father-in-law was in a bicycling accident, and unfortunately, he passed away 10 days later. He was severely injured. But the greatest gift that he left for our family is a fully completed estate plan. It allowed my mother-in-law and my husband to really grieve the loss. They didn't have to wonder how they were going to pay for the funeral because the life insurance policy provided that income very quickly. And it gave peace. So I don't think that people realize what a gift it is to have that done and prepared. A lot of people have jokingly said to me before, well, I'll be gone, it doesn't matter. Well, it actually does. It really matters. And if you want to save your family member that kind of stress, then we highly recommend that you go ahead and take care of getting that done.
Wow. That's a great example. Okay, thanks so much. Kellen, why would someone need an estate plan, especially if they already have a will?
Well, a will is not the only thing that encompasses a complete estate plan. A complete estate plan also has powers of attorney, and that is a durable power of attorney, a healthcare power of attorney, and a HIPAA release. And at times there may be an LLC that you want to put into your will, as well as trusts. There's a whole variety of different types of trusts. And that's also part of your estate plan, as well as working with a financial planner to make sure that all of your financial accounts are accounted for in the will. The durable power of attorney is what allows a trusted representative of you to speak on your behalf regarding all things financial. So if we'll use COVID as an example, if God forbid you were in the hospital with COVID and on a ventilator, then whoever you named as your representative can go to the bank on your behalf, can talk to creditors, can talk to rental agencies, anybody that anything to do with your finances, they can handle for you. A lot of times, if you don't have somebody to do that for you, then those bills can just keep racking up. So that's an important one, as well as the healthcare power of attorney and the HIPAA release that allows the doctors to be able to speak to you and tell you exactly what is wrong with them. And you can guide them with what type of care. Some people may not want to be resuscitated. That is in a healthcare power of attorney document. So there's a lot of aspects that you really want to have taken care of that will encompass a whole estate plan, not just a will.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So do you have any stories about the healthcare power of attorney?
I sure do, actually. I have a very close friend who has given me the okay to share her personal story. She and her husband were on vacation at Myrtle Beach and got a call about their adult son from the emergency room in Raleigh saying that he had been in a very terrible accident and he may not survive. And when she asked what happened, they said, "I'm sorry, we can't tell you.
Oh,
It's a HIPAA violation."
mm,
So she had to drive from Myrtle Beach back to Raleigh, not knowing if she was going to arrive at the hospital and find her son, possibly passed away. Um, and she cried and, of course, um, was very emotional. And she was able to get some detail from the doctor about it. But unfortunately, he was risking his license because it's against the law. It's a HIPAA violation. So he went out on a limb to provide what little information she got. And so since then, of course, she's gotten all of those documents put in place. And honestly, that needs to happen anytime or once your child turns 18, that's when they need to have the powers of attorney documents.
wow.
And many people do not realize that. It's not something that's taught in school or college prep courses, or just going out into adulthood. It's something that needs to be known. And it's one thing that I'm truly passionate about and am trying to educate as many people as I can about it.
Wow, that is powerful. Gosh, yeah, something that everyone needs to know for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
Kellen, can you talk about if you're married, wouldn't everything just pass to your spouse?
Not necessarily. With no will, everything will go through the probate process. And that process can be extremely lengthy, up to 2 to 3 years at times. Typically, it takes about a year. It's stressful, it's lengthy, it's expensive. And you can save a lot of money by simply just preparing a basic will before you pass away. There's a lot of nuances to it. At times, the spouse may be bypassed and the surviving parents would be the one to get all of your assets.
Wow.
So also with a common law marriage, there's no benefits. You're just no will, no benefits, no money, no nothing. So if you have people that are in your life that you want to make sure that you are providing for after your death, then you want to really make sure that you have a valid will in place.
Gotcha, gotcha. Wow, great information. You have just been a wealth of information, so many things that people really need to know that most people don't know. So, and on that, is there anything else that you want to mention, before we end the interview?
Something that I'll mention is if you have clients that have moved from out of state,
Hmm.
and already have a will, just advise them to speak to an estate planning attorney and just get it looked at to make sure that the statutes are the same for the state they've moved from as North Carolina. North Carolina can be a little bit tricky with some of their statutes. So it may not need a full to be completely redone, but just need a simple revision. And we do that type of thing all the time. We do highly recommend that powers of attorney, however, be done in the state in which you live. You do not want to get in a situation in the hospital where you have to have a leg amputated and they have to say, "Oh, wait, we have to call, the court in New York to find out if this is really okay in the state of North Carolina." It sounds silly, but it wouldn't be if you were in that situation, to use as an example. Also, it's a bit of a misconception to keep your documents like your will in a safety deposit box. We as a firm don't necessarily recommend that, only because we find that it's easier to have a fireproof, waterproof safe and put it somewhere in your home and share that with your family or your friends. It's a lot easier to access that than having to deal with a bank, especially with COVID and not being able to get into banks all the time. You just never know. And if there's a key that you have to have, and if you're out of state, it's just easier. So those are my two tips.
Okay, awesome. I'll definitely take them both to heart. Okay. Well, thank you again so much for doing the interview. So much valuable information. If anyone wants to reach you, there'll be contact information in the links. And so I'm hoping that they'll reach out to you, Kellen, with McCollum Law, or you can always reach out to me and I'll connect you guys up together. So thanks again for joining me. And everybody stay tuned for more tips from the trenches.
Thanks, Deb.